Pause a second for Renata Soto, the Executive Director of Conexión Americas.
We're talking about our city, not just today, although 2 presidential visits in 1 year doesn't hurt. Some people attribute Nashville's greatness to our hot chicken festivals, cool cowboy boots, and a downtown very vibrant atmosphere. But we know that none of that truly makes us special. Nashville is significant and distinct because of this one truth. Our power is in our people. Like the people here today who are paving the way and giving inspiration to the nation in the fight for immigration policies that uphold core American values of family and justice. For the last few days, everyone has been asking, what about Nashville, and Casa Azafran in particular, makes it the chosen stage for the president to speak on immigration? And the answer is simple. It is because our president finds inspiration in the people of Nashville, who have learned from the lessons of the past and are striving to build a truly inclusive city for all, from the native-born to the immigrant neighbor moving forward. Whether we have been here for 5 generations or arrived from Mexico or Kurdistan 10 years ago, we Nashvillians are creating opportunities for dialogue to confront the fears about a changing community and to find common ground in this one reality. The movement of people from one place to another is a common thread in the history of humanity that binds us together. We gather here today to thank our president for his bold leadership on immigration policy after 25 years of stagnation, and to engage in a conversation with him about the unfinished job of comprehensive immigration reform. We welcome him at Casa Azafran because this center in particularly, at the gateway to Nashville's International District, is a beautiful example of what is possible when a city, a community, celebrates the roots and possibilities of all people. On behalf of Conexión Americas, every of our Casa Azafran partners, and all Nashvillians, it is my distinct honor to welcome the President of the United States of America, Mr. Barack Obama.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Everybody, please have a seat. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Everybody, please have a seat. Have a seat. Well, hello, Nashville. Well, thank you. Hola. ¿Cómo está? Bien. Thank you, Renata, for the wonderful introduction. I've brought some friends with me who I think you may know. Your Congressman, Jim Cooper. As well as Congressman Steve Cohen from Memphis is here. I want to thank, is your mayor still here? Where'd he go? There he is right there, doing a great job. And his wonderful daughter, we got to brag about her. She's a junior at Barnard. We decided just to embarrass her. You know, when you're the father of daughters, your job is to embarrass them, and I'm trying to give an assist here. But I want to thank Casa Azafran for hosting us and for being home to so many organizations that do important work welcoming immigrants to the community. And that's why I've come here today. I won't make a long speech because I want to have a dialogue, but I want to give some remarks at the top. As Renata mentioned, some people might think Nashville was an odd place to talk about immigration. It's not what comes to mind when people think about gateways to America. But as all of you know, Nashville's got one of the fastest growing immigrant populations in the country. New Nashvillians. They're from Somalia, Nepal, Laos, Mexico, Bangladesh, and Nashville happens to be the home of the largest Kurdish community in the United States as well. They are us. They work as teachers in our schools, doctors in our hospitals, police officers in our neighborhoods. They start small businesses at a faster rate than many native-born Americans. They create jobs, making a city more prosperous and a more innovative place. And of course, they make the food better. You know, I know that Tennessee barbecue's, you know, pretty popular, but Korean barbecue's pretty good too. And the point is, welcoming immigrants into your community benefits all of us. And you know, I was talking to your mayor, Carl Dean, on the way over here, and he understands this. He's been a great partner when it comes to preparing immigrants to become citizens. A couple of weeks ago, I created a task force on new Americans that's going to help do this kind of work all across the country. But as we all know, our immigration system has been broken for a long time. Families who come here the right way can get stuck in line for years. Business owners who treat their workers right sometimes are undercut by competition from folks who are not just hiring undocumented workers, but then underpaying them or not paying the minimum wage or not giving them the benefits that they have earned. Nobody likes the idea of somebody reaping the rewards of living in America without its responsibilities as well. And there are all kinds of folks who want to gladly embrace those responsibilities, but they have no way to come out of the shadows and get right with the law. And a year and a half ago, a big majority of Democrats, Republicans, and independents in the Senate, including both of your senators, passed a bipartisan bill to fix our broken immigration system. And the bill wasn't perfect, but it was a common sense compromise. It would have doubled the number of Border Patrol agents. It would have made the legal immigration system smarter and faster. It would have given millions of people the chance to earn their citizenship the right way. It was good for our economy. Independent economists estimated that it would not only grow our economy faster, but shrink our deficits faster. And if the House of Representatives had simply called for an up or down vote, it would have passed. It would be the law. We'd be on the way to solving this problem in a sensible way. But for a year and a half now, Republican leaders in the House blocked this simple up or down vote. Now, I still believe that the best way to solve this system is by working together to pass the kind of common sense law that was passed in the Senate. But until then, there are actions that I have the legal authority to take that will help make our immigration system smarter and fairer. And I took those actions last month. We're providing more resources at the border to help law enforcement personnel stop illegal crossings and send home those who cross over. We're going to focus our enforcement resources on people who actually pose a threat to our communities, felons rather than families, and criminals rather than children. We're going to bring more undocumented immigrants out of the shadows so they can play by the rules. They have to pass a criminal background check, pay taxes, contribute more fully to our economy. So this isn't amnesty or legalization or even a path to citizenship. That can only be done by Congress. It doesn't apply to anybody who's come to this country recently or who might come illegally in the future. What it does is create a system of accountability, a common sense middle ground approach. And what we're saying is until Congress fixes this problem legislatively, if you have deep ties to this country and you are willing to get right by the law and do what you need to do, then you shouldn't have to worry about being deported or being separated from your kids. Now, these are the kind of lawful actions taken by every president, Republican and Democrat, for the past 50 years. So when members of Congress question whether I have the authority to do this, I have one answer. Yes, and pass a bill. If you want Congress to be involved in this process, I welcome it. But you got to pass a bill that addresses the various components of immigration reform in a common sense way. And I want to work with both parties to get this done. The day I sign this bill into law, then the executive actions I take are no longer necessary, and some of the changes that I've instituted administratively become permanent. Unfortunately, so far, the only response that we've had out of the House was a vote taken last week to force talented young people and workers to leave our country. Rather than deport students or separate families or make it harder for law enforcement to do its job, we just need Congress to work with us to pass a common sense law to fix the broken immigration system. And meanwhile, Washington shouldn't let disagreements on this issue prevent action on every other issue. That's not how our democracy works. Americans are tired of gridlock. We're seeing the economy move forward. We need to build on that. And certainly my administration is ready to work forward on a whole range of issues. I do recognize that there are controversies around immigration. There always have been, by the way. Even those who know we need to reform the system may be concerned about not having Congress get it done. And then there are some folks who worry about immigration changing the fabric of our society or taking jobs from native-born Americans. And I understand those concerns. But as I said, they're not new. As a country, we have had these concerns since the Irish and Italians and Poles were coming to Boston and New York, and had the same concerns when Chinese and Japanese Americans were traveling out west. But what our history and the facts show is that generation after generation, immigrants have been a net plus to our economy and a net plus to our society. And that's what cities like Nashville prove is still the case. And this city proves that we can address these concerns together and make sure that immigration works for everybody, that it strengthens our economy, that it strengthens our communities, that we can talk about some of the tensions and concerns in a constructive way rather than yelling at each other. And so let me close with the story of somebody who's working to bring people together. David Lubell, who many of you know and who's here today. Where's David? Where is he? There is he. So David used to run the Tennessee Immigrant and Refugee Rights Coalition. And he knew that some folks were skeptical about immigrants changing the face of Nashville. And he also knew, though, that these immigrants were good people. So he saw an opportunity for immigration to unite the city rather than divide it. And in 2005, he started Welcoming Tennessee, which connects long-term residents in the community with new immigrants. And you'd have dinners and church socials and at Rotary clubs, and folks got to know each other and maybe feel some empathy and see themselves in new arrivals. And the conversations weren't always easy. But it created a foundation of mutual understanding and respect. And today, David's initiative is expanding across the country. I think you said, David, that we've got these kinds of efforts going on in 42 cities around the country. This is what makes America exceptional. You know, we welcome strivers. We welcome dreamers from all around the world. And it keeps us young, and it keeps us invigorated, and it keeps us striving. And pushing the boundaries of what's possible. And then we all bind ourselves together around similar ideals, a similar creed. And one generation in, suddenly those kids are already Americans, like everybody else. And we have the same dreams and hopes for them, the same aspirations. And if we keep harnessing that potential, there's no limit to what this country can achieve. So Nashville is helping to lead the way in getting this conversation right. We hope that if it happens around the country, that eventually it'll drift into the House of Representatives, and we're going to get the kind of comprehensive legislation that we need to actually solve this problem. So with that, let me start taking some questions. Thank you very much, everybody. I appreciate it.